Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Alfonzo. I'm actually going to be refuting Mona Morgan's claim of speech. His claim of speech was actually human activities are one of the main causes for climate change, and his supporting claims were that human activities causes greenhouse gases. Second, that human activities led to rising temperatures, and the excessive human greenhouse gas is environmentally dangerous. My claim is that human activities are not the main reason for climate change. First, I'm going to talk about how the speech itself was more informative and not so much of an argument. Second, I'm going to show through terminology, I will demonstrate how human activities are not the reason for climate change. And third, I will talk about how climate change is a natural process of our planet. First of all, the speech itself was talking about very different kind of gases and stuff like that, but wasn't actually comparing the difference between what exists and the impact that it has, that the human have on it. And according to the EPA and to NOAA, climate change is not debatable, and to me it kind of sounds like it's debatable. 80% of the causing effects of climate change. He talked a lot about greenhouses, which we didn't really give an example of how they all interact with each other. And through that takes me to my second claim, the terminology. According to the EPA, climate change is defined as refers to any significant change in the measure of climate lasting for an extended period of time. In other words, climate change includes changes in temperature, precipitation, or wind, among other effects that occur over several decades or longer. So it's changes that takes a lot of time. Global warming refers to the recent and ongoing rise in global temperatures near the Earth's surface. It is mostly caused by concentration of greenhouses in the atmosphere. Global warming is causing climate patterns to change. However, global warming is not itself the only aspect of climate change. And third, greenhouse effect. It's a result of heat absorption by certain gases in the atmosphere. So it kind of works together. But also in the EPA, it stated that the main greenhouse gas that we have is actually water vapor, and that itself is not created by human activities. And then if you kind of start looking back, greenhouse creates global warming, but but global warming itself is not the main reason for climate change. And also, since also the EPA stated that the carbon dioxide is the second greatest gas for the greenhouse effect, but it's not talk about what's called volcanic activity or other effects that other things that create carbon dioxide. And my third argument is that climate change is a natural process on our planet. According to the Canadian National Museum of Nature, it says that over the last 4.6 billion years, there have been 7 ice ages. The most recent one was the Great Ice Age, about 10,000 years ago, and that's it's something that's constantly happening. It's not something it's new, and it's also according to NOAA, warming has not been globally uniform. So a lot of statements are saying that everything is getting warmer and all the activities because of climate change. But there's several areas in the country and around the world that actually the overall temperature has decreased. And recently, also in an article by CNN, it's stating that the U.S. and Europe have been able to lower their emissions. The U.S. has lowered its emissions by 7% since 2007, and the Europe dropped its emissions by 9% overall from 2009 to 2010. And in a nutshell, again, once again I was telling you, it's human activity does have an impact on gas emission, on greenhouse emissions. But if you kind of start breaking down, greenhouse emissions, it's a minor part of of climate change. And my friend actually had an example of the car incident where you go in and you open the door, it's going to be hot. But according to NOAA as well, it's saying that if we didn't have those greenhouse effect, those green gases, our temperature would be at about minus 18 degrees Celsius instead of our current temperature. So we wouldn't be able to, this planet wouldn't be able to be habitable. Thank you.
All right, it starts off pretty clear, and it sounds like you're going to present a counterclaim. I think the organizational structure gets a little confusing. I heard at least 2 number 3 points, so that threw me off. And I wasn't sure if you were responding to claims presented by the advocate or developing your own claims at times, so I think that was also a little bit problematic. Your first argument on gases, I'm not sure what it is you're saying and what the impact of that argument is. Your EPA, NOAA evidence there says that this kind of issue is not debatable, so how does that advance your point, undermine the advocate's point, to mitigate either argument? It's not clear to me, and I think you sometimes are giving us information and not telling us what inferences to draw, and I think you want to be concerned about making sure that your position consists of declarative sentences also. It sounds like there's a lot of explanation going on, which is fine as long as you tell us what the explanation is ultimately leading us to. Later on in the argument, I think you do a pretty good job suggesting that global warming may contribute to climate change, but it's not the primary contributor to climate change, and that the global warming or the climate change that occurs is influenced by a lot of other factors that are not being accounted for. Okay, so that seems to mitigate the impact of whatever it is that human beings are doing on global warming. I guess that's the argument that's being made, but we'd never get any sense of proportion or how significant anything is. For example, you talk about water vapors being the most frequent greenhouse gases. Well, how much of the variation in climate change should they contribute to? Later on, you mentioned volcanoes, the same kind of thing. What impact are they likely to have? I think you have an interesting argument toward the end that says that Europe and the U.S. have reduced their greenhouse gases. Well, if that's the case, then what are we worrying about? How much worse is it going to get? Is it likely to have an impact? You present that data, but again, you're not telling us what we need to do with that data. I thought there was a little bit more of that in the summary of the argument, but you need to be consistent about that during the presentation. All right, thank you.